Hello, my friends, esteemed colleagues. I was asked to talk about the recreational drugs. Many people that use them are under the opinion that they're not harmful at all, that they help us excel. For example, the THC oil from cannabis, or DMT, that they would open our mind, connect us with the soul, give us the inside knowledge. Well, you may get with some of these drugs into a situation where you do see geometric structures and you see distorted view of reality. Some of them they do relax you, some of them make you more active. But even the ayahuasca, which is completely different from any other of those drugs, is toxic. And I'm not saying we should not use these, but you have to give body time to cleanse and recover. If you don't, you will run into problems. If nothing else, it will be the cellular dehydration that will get you. Probably the mildest toxin of these drugs would be the DMT, or CBD also. But still, daily usage is going to create cellular dehydration and all the consequences of toxic cells as a result of it. We are being told, oh yeah, but our cells have receptors for CBD. Well, we have receptors. Our body sometimes produces these frequencies, these compounds, we call them as frequencies. When you meditate, when you calm down completely, you may get in a state. But when you're using drugs, they're basically plants. They're plant toxins. They will affect you. I had a friend who sailed with me, and he was very much into smoking marijuana. So he would, even in cigarettes, he would put half tobacco and half marijuana. And always saying, this is like cigarette, it's even better than cigarette because it's less toxic. Well, tobacco itself is also a medicinal plant. Of course, the cigarette being made commercially, it's being additionally made toxic to create health problems that then have to be medicated. For example, the ayahuasca I was using for my ceremonies, before ayahuasca, she uses tobacco to purge the body. She makes a tea from tobacco. It's awful stuff. You have to drink it in one shot, because if you stop in the middle and if you take a little bit of breath, a little taste, there's no way you can continue, and you puke out. So when you drink it, you just gotta stop breathing and just, some people hold their nose and just drink the whole thing, and immediately afterwards flush it with a little bit of water. And even then, very often people vomit, but you try to hold it at least a little bit, so it starts doing its cleansing process. Again, as I mentioned during the detox, you can, it's not that you can, but widely it's practiced by shamans and tribal healers to use toxic remedies from plants or animals to increase blood toxicity to a level that the body has to go into cleanse to get rid of this, no matter how low on plasma it is. And you will be puking, you will have diarrhea, you will be oozing toxic mucus from every orifice of your body. As you are eliminating the poison that you have been given, you are also eliminating all the rest of the poisons that are in your blood and lymph. And of course, you think you're going to die for 6 or 8 hours, and then after that, you start feeling good and better, and you start feeling great because you have cleansed not only the toxin you have been given, but also you cleanse the impurities that were in your plasma that body did not want to take out, because it, again, the mechanism shows you, well, hydration should be here, toxicity should be here, toxicity is here, but hydration is here. What is more important? Lose more plasma to get rid of this and go into critical position with plasma, or raise the plasma and tolerate the toxicity. But when you get overly toxic, because something was given to you that did not kill you, but it created the necessity of elimination, then your body is going to eliminate it with the other stuff and dropping the plasma levels, because now the calculator calculates, well, who cares about the plasma level if I die? So pshoo, it goes down. Again, body is not conscious. It's electronic robot. And it doesn't work with its consciousness, reasoning, oh, I have to do this because of this or that. It is obeying programs that says, well, this toxicity, you got to eliminate. This toxicity, you can tolerate. This level of plasma, you can tolerate, but you want it to be there, and you want toxicity to be here. So whenever there's plenty of plasma available in the blood, your body will be cleansing and keep your toxicity of the blood as low as possible. Now, when you're using any of these drugs, being it mushrooms, being it cactus, marijuana, including ayahuasca, you are poisoning the body. But these poisons are not very strong. They are tolerable. So you may not even have any physical problems. But when we say that cells have, let's say, cannabinoid receptor, like iode receptor also, we think, oh, you see, we need plenty iodine because it has iodine receptor there. It has cannabis receptors. So a lot of cannabis is good. Well, it's not so, because these compounds will block these receptors. They load them up. And what happens? The cell closes down. It is not going to be absorbing. It actually goes in a closure. Now you are not absorbing, but you are also not eliminating. So if you are using any of these drugs frequently, without taking a break, hydrating and cleansing, you are going to be constantly dehydrating on a cellular level, becoming more acidic on a cellular level, which you cannot measure by peeing on a litmus paper or spitting on it. It's your cells that hold it in. More acidic they become, less electricity they can hold. They start losing electricity. And problems start occurring, chronic problems. So, I know guys, smart guys, very productive guys. A friend of my ex-wife, Gary, that had a socks company and designed socks for a lot of popular designers. He had one pot every day for years. Of course, his glasses were this thick, could not see for shit, but still was a great designer. He had the ideas. But health deteriorates, and when you start dehydrating on a cellular level, well, what is one of the first things you actually become aware of? Your eyesight gets bad, because when the gel, which is hydrated protein in islands, when it's starting to lose plasma, start getting dehydrated, it changes the flexibility of the cell. So now you cannot focus on close because it doesn't relax properly. It stays always a little bit elongated. Then later on, you cannot even stretch it, so you cannot even see on a distance. So you need bifocals. It's all about hydration on a cellular level. And the further dehydration leads to cataracts. It has nothing to do with ultraviolet light. It is dehydration when it starts showing the white collagen fibers. So another friend that was sailing with me, having this pot all the time, great guy, but little by little, you can see him shrinking. The position staying on a boat like this all the time. Whole body is drying up. You may not have particular disease that is going to bother you, but generally, you are becoming chronically toxic and dehydrated. And then, yes, pain will start showing up. The forced hydration will kick in. Inflammation starts occurring. This is later on process. It may take you years to get there, but you will get there. I did ayahuascas. I even had once pot, and once I had a cookie with cannabis. They help me to recognize certain things because they all numb you down, with exception of ayahuasca. DMT does not numb you down, which surprised me. I know when I had marijuana cookie, all of a sudden my stomach started getting numb, and then numbness goes to my throat. It was a very uncomfortable feeling because I did it only once, and I was not expecting this. And then you start relaxing, and then you start hallucinating, but again, with the control. You get in a good mood. When I had my first ayahuasca with a medicine man from the jungle, after I drank it, didn't know what to expect, so I was just waiting. People around me started puking. With me, nothing, because my body was clean. I was on my clean diet. This was before I started with the chocolate poisoning, cacao poisoning. And all of a sudden, I felt numbness in my stomach and coming up. And I thought, okay, I know this feeling. I had the marijuana cookie, drug, psychedelic. This is expected. And I was not surprised by it. And then I had visions, different, completely different than with marijuana. And I made the oneness. I was shown many things. I was thanking the universe for the opportunity to see this, to have this experience. And that was it. But when I had first time ayahuasca with Christine, who is doing the traditional ayahuasca, I was very surprised, because after I drank it and I'm waiting, and for me, it always kicks very late, sometimes 1 hour after I drink it. Everybody is already deep into doing their work, whatever it is, and I'm still waiting. And all of a sudden, I see image. And I was like, okay, where is my numbness? What's happening here? I didn't feel it. I'm completely awake, like talking to you now, only with closed eyes, and I'm rationally thinking, and I'm surprised by the image. And the things start happening. And I see eye of a dragon. I see first eye, big yellow eye with a dark slit in the middle, and then coming closer, I see the contours of a head of a dragon. And well, it's very interesting. Absolutely no feeling of any dragging. I just have this vision, like watching a movie. Then I look like from a round window from somewhere high, I'm looking down, and I'm thinking, wow, am I now inside of the eye of the dragon? So I look at my skin, and I have these scales, black scales. I was a black dragon. And I started flying. I could fly. And I did a lot of things at that moment, which I don't want to go into. But what was very important, the realization that there was no numbness. I was completely conscious of everything, except I had these visions and feelings, because I was clearing some patches of sand in Sahara and some parts of a sea between islands. I would think maybe somewhere in Greece, because this is how it looked like. And I was absorbing some toxic energy that was making me nauseous and sick. And I was guided on how to handle this, and intuitively being taught what is happening. But so I actually felt nausea. I didn't vomit, because again, I was shown how I can transform this instead of throwing up and just making another area dirty, to convert it into positive energy. And the body knows how to do it. My mind has no clue. So you just have to relax and give permission and intent. So intentionally you agree to this. Okay, let's try to do it. Let's do it. And your body, your robot knows how to do it. So it was very surprising that there was no numbness, there was no nausea, there were no hallucinogenic effects, other than actually seeing a different type of reality with the feelings and everything, and feelings not very comfortable. Then later on, as a gift, I had great feelings. As a gift for what I did, I had feelings of real ecstasy. But that was towards the end. And this is why you need someone, when you do these things, that knows what you're going through, because we are one, especially at that moment. And whenever you start getting lost in the imagery of relaxing, has to wake you up. Because you go like into, okay, I like this, this is good, and then somebody goes, and it has to be quiet, because every sound is like explosion. So just by doing little blowing, little bit of air, and I hear it like a hurricane, and immediately I know, okay, I'm back, and I concentrate on work, not on having fun. So I'm not against using these things. I had 30 ayahuascas, but ayahuasca is different than marijuana. I never tried cocaine, for example. My ex-wife did, and that's why her teeth, her whole mouth, the receded gums, deeply receded, and teeth all rotten, all problems. She spent thousands and thousands of dollars on dental work, and we accept them. Many people that snore cocaine has destroyed nasal septum. I saw once my wife having cocaine, because it was given to me by a fellow co-worker, he knew that my wife used to be a regular in Studio 51, so they know what was done there. So he gave me a rock. He said, "I'll take this rock to your wife. It's from Joey." I gave her the rock. I have no clue what it is, and her eyes lit up. Woo! It was cocaine. And she snores it a little bit, and then she takes and rams it on her gums. No wonder her teeth were shut. Every one of these drugs is toxic. Do not overdo it. Do not use it as a recreational drug. What happens? The barrier between the mind and soul gets thin, or under influence of DMT, it completely disappears. So your mind and soul become one. And this is why you have these experiences. But also this is why you can consciously ask to be shown certain things. So if you want to know your past lives, you can consciously ask, okay, I want to see. And it will be granted. You will see that. And this is where a lot of people make mistakes. When they go for ayahuasca, they expect it to be like a very potent drug that they know, usually coming from marijuana. Actually, ayahuasca will not talk to you if you are full of marijuana, because it becomes too dangerous. You can get crazy because you connect your mind with your soul, but then the mind may take over. And when you come back, you still can be under that influence and you become cuckoo. This is why very often when people come here to do ayahuasca, they are actually being given ayahuasca with a drug, either marijuana in it, or they have their different hallucinogenic plants. This way, they don't allow complete separation or complete joining. You are still under hallucinogen, so you are kind of controlling the whole thing mentally. And ayahuasca will not allow the DMT to completely liberate you, to join you together, because you are in a danger of not recovering. I had a friend coming from Australia. He wanted to experience ayahuasca. I asked him, well, have you been doing marijuana or mushrooms? Not lately. I said, okay, because ayahuasca is not going to talk to you. And when he was here, no, he didn't have the experience. Whole night he was just sitting and waiting, and nothing happened. So I spoke to Christine, and Christine said he was full of marijuana. So ayahuasca could not take over. I would have to give more ayahuasca, and that would become dangerous. He may not come out of it. So I was instructed not to. And he tried twice and couldn't have it. This is why when I had my first ayahuasca, there was already hallucinogen in it, because it is for those people that come, tourists, they want to have the experience of ayahuasca. And since shamans, well, these people who do ayahuasca, majority of them do it solely for profit. And if you don't have experience, then you get disappointed, you don't want to come back, and they don't care about what kind of experience you have. So they put a drug in there, so no matter how much drug you are otherwise, you are going to have your experience, but it's not going to be the real ayahuasca experience. A lot of these people that come, that are the happy people, that always smoke a little bit, puff here, puff there, they do not have real ayahuasca experience. They cannot have it. Because ayahuasca is something completely different from my experience. And even so, after I had my, 29 or 30 ayahuascas through years, a year ago, ayahuasca told me, you no longer need to poison yourself. You have all the tools now, and you should go cleanse and implement the tools you have. And actually showed me like a white, beautiful castle with these beautiful terraces. And one of these terraces was dark, was not black, but was like grayish. It had like a shade over it. I immediately knew that this is part in me that is toxic, that I have to cleanse. And ayahuasca actually showed me that Christine also needs to do this. But Christine, again, mind interferes with soul. We have to be ready to listen and not only to follow our mind. I see these problems. This is why I have completely different understanding why we are here from many other shamans and many other people who are meditating and dwelling on this issue. What is the purpose of us? My understanding is different. And I see that even some channelers who are well connected and what they say resonates with me, but then there is something, and it's with the diet, that was off, which also tells me that even creator does not know everything about creation it has created. And this is why we are here, to explore it and to give more detailed information about it. So new creation will be better with less problems. The point of this whole gibbering is that there's nothing wrong to use hallucinogenic or medicinal remedies to connect you to higher consciousness, but don't use them as recreational happy events. After every time you use it, you should cleanse. This is why I was not doing ayahuascas more often than every 3rd week. So I have plenty of time to cleanse and hydrate before new ayahuasca comes. Of course, when you are using ayahuasca to learn special detailed stuff, some people have to use it several times a day for months at a time. I was talking to one healer here, did more than 500 ayahuascas. He learned on different level. He needed them. But then there comes the point, okay, now stop and cleanse. Because everybody starts having problems. Christine is having problems. Then she has to purge, she has to work on herself. Every one of those people who are doing ayahuascas to learn, they have to cleanse. Every time, after ayahuasca, cleansing, cleansing. But many people who use things as recreational drugs, they don't cleanse. They just use and use and use and use. You are going to have huge health issues. And when they come, they're all chronic. And they will hit you hard. So be smart about it. Do not abuse it. Use it for enlightening purposes. But not too often. Hydrate and cleanse in between, so you do not damage your robot. Thank you for listening. I just want to mention that I was talking about drugs as recreational drugs, and I mentioned cocaine with a group of psychedelic drugs because many people do not really distinguish the difference. Cocaine actually is dopamine blocker, so it doesn't allow you to relax, keeps you wired, makes you more aggressive. And people use it basically to overcome tiredness. So my wife, because she was going to Studio 51, working during the day, nightlife started after 12, so she was using cocaine to keep her up all night. And does not have hallucinogenic effect. But again, it is recreational drug, and this is why it was mentioned. So I want to distinguish these two different parts. Thank you for listening. Ciao.